Today, we'll be showing you guys how to replace the motor on your Air 2023. For this repair, all you're gonna need is a 19mm wrench, an 8mm wrench, a 4mm Allen key, and a 3mm Allen key, and you should be good to go. So first things first, we're gonna go ahead and loosen our deck screws. Next, now that we have all our screws off, we'll go ahead and remove our kickstand. Now that we've got our kickstand removed, we'll go ahead and remove our deck cover. All right, now that we've got all of our screws off, we can remove the inner deck cover. Now, because we're working on electronics, we're gonna go ahead and unplug our battery. And we'll also unplug our charge port, just to be safe. We'll go ahead, pull our charge port through the deck hole, inside of the deck. Next, we can go ahead and grab our wires. There is going to be a zip tie holding together all the wires. We're gonna go ahead and cut that off. There is also two connectors that will be covered in shrink wrap. We're gonna go ahead and remove the shrink wrap. Now we'll go ahead and disconnect our connectors. And we'll also go ahead and disconnect our phase wires. Now we can go ahead and pull our motor wire to the back here. Make sure when doing this not to lose your little waterproof gasket. Next, we're gonna go ahead and remove the clip that holds the motor wire to the side of the swing arm. Go ahead and grab it, put it to the side and don't lose it. And we'll go ahead and also put this clip to the side. Next, we'll go ahead and remove our motor nuts. So for this, you're gonna need a 19mm wrench. Now, because we're replacing the motor, we don't need to remove the motor nuts all the way. We just need to make sure that we could pull our motor up and off of the swing arms. Just like that. Same thing here. We don't have to remove our motor nuts all the way, but just enough so that we could get our motor in. Next, we'll go ahead and torque down our motor nuts as much as we can by hand. Now that we got our motor installed onto our swing arms, we will go ahead and put back our clip that holds the motor to the side of the swing arm. We'll go ahead and line it up with this screw. And then we'll go ahead and grab our nut and reinstall. Now that we've got it threaded on a couple with our fingers, we go ahead and use our 8mm wrench to tighten it down. With this now tightened down, we could go ahead and put back our waterproof gasket. We'll make sure to put our LED light wire through and our motor cable wire through. For this part, we recommend adding a little bit of hot glue, especially if you've misplaced your gasket. If you notice that it's not perfect, it's fine. once we put back our deck cover, it'll be well protected. And now we'll go ahead and reconnect all our wires. When reconnecting the phase wires, you want to make sure that each phase wire goes to the right color. For example, green on green, blue on blue, yellow on yellow. Never yellow on blue or blue on green. Now that we got our phase wires connected properly, we can connect everything else. With our motor wires now connected, we'll go ahead and reconnect our battery. We'll put our charger cable back through the side hole of the deck here, and we'll plug our charge port back in. From there, we'll go ahead and make sure that all of our gaskets are where they're supposed to be and that our wires aren't coming out of the deck. So now we'll go ahead and put our inner deck cover back. And keep in mind, when reinstalling this, you are not putting screws in every single hole, as once you put the plastic cover over, you'll need to screw that into the remaining holes. All right, now that we got all of our screws installed into our inner deck cover, we'll go ahead and install our outer deck cover now. Keep in mind when installing your plastic deck cover to not squish your charge ports, as this could cause unnecessary damage. Also, make sure that your motor wire lines up with the deck. So we're not going to tighten down the screws all the way, and this is because we're going to make sure that our plastic deck cover is lined up to the body of the scooter. And I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. So before we completely tighten down our deck screws, we're going to make sure that our deck cover isn't misaligned from the rest of the body of the scooter. And if you find that it is, you could just take a hammer, a rubber hammer, and just give the sides a little tap, and it should just go right back into place. And now we'll go and fully tighten down our screws. After we've tightened down all of our screws, we'll go ahead and install our kickstand. And that is pretty much how you replace your motor on your Air 2023.